It's a maiden voyage for us. What's up, boys and girls? How are you? Welcome into a Saturday morning live stream on the Fantasy Pros / Betting Pros Twitch channel. This is unique. He is Terrell Furman. I am Matt Perrault, and welcome to round two. We're going to break down 16 games with you guys, Saturday and Sunday, 2 days, 8 games each. Lots of action all over the board to get into. Terrell, good Saturday morning. How are you?
Give me some subs. I need some subs. Send me subs. Send me subs right now. Come on, chat.
What does that mean? I'm 47. I'm old. What does subs mean on Twitch?
You get subscriptions on Twitch. That's how they send you subscriptions and tell you you're doing a good job, and they love you and show you appreciation. So you get sent subs. So all the Twitch streamers, they're always like, hey, send me subs, send me subs. And when they have these Twitch marathons, they're doing the marathons to get more and more subs. I want subs right now. Give me a sub. Somebody give me a sub. I've always wanted to say that.
I'm from Boston. A sub is something that we eat. I don't know what subscriptions are. So let's go with that. I'll ride with Terrell on this. So it's going to be fun to see what's going to happen. Okay. We're not an affiliate yet, I guess. I don't know. I'm learning all these.
I don't even get the subs yet. All right. Make me affiliate and then give me subs.
All right. So on the screen is the live chat. This is different. Okay. Normally we have to put that on the screen. We are actually seeing you guys in the live chat come on in. So this is fun on this. I think I might have a Twitch account. I don't know. I mean, I'm at Sports Talk Matt on everything. So if I do have a Twitch account, it is at Sports Talk Matt. So we'll see how that whole thing winds up rolling. But we're going to break down the games with you guys, give you thoughts, picks, and plays here. I'll give you my 4 plays for today. We'll take a look at what's going to happen here on for Sunday as well. We have seen some line movement. We have seen some interesting situations roll through. So let's start with McNeese in Purdue. McNeese State, Will Wade has been open. He's leaving. He's going to become the new head coach of NC State.
Yep.
McNeese State played extremely well in their first game to win a 5-12 matchup. Purdue is now on the clock for the Big Ten. The Big Ten became the first team in the history of the NCAA tournament to go 8-0 against the spread, not just straight up, 8-0 against the spread. Now, they beat a bunch of smaller seeds. They have not beaten a single-digit seed yet, so it's not like they've come through like some murder row here and having to do with a bunch of these upsets. Seeds 1 to 16 in this tournament, undefeated, 16-0. We have not had one major upset for a top 4 seed so far here in this bracket. Terrell, is this the game in which the Big Ten and a seed higher than, 12 goes home?
No, I don't think the Big Ten is going to be able to get this done. I'm all over McNeese here. I was never, ever. Once they won that game, Purdue was the next game on the card. I was like, yeah, this is an easy fade of Purdue. Like, the size didn't even matter. Clemson had a significant size and reach advantage over McNeese, and it didn't matter. They were able to switch. They were going zone, man. Will Wade was masterful, and he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He said, all right, I'm going to take this time off. I'm going to go back to a mid-major, and I'm going to coach myself right back up to the Power 4, and all I have to do is win games. And that's what he's doing. He's winning games. And so, yeah, I'm all over McNeese. McNeese has the aura. He got the manager out there with the cheerleaders wearing his face on the socks. They got everything going on for them to be that Sweet 16 Cinderella that everybody falls in love with. And the best part about it is they gave themselves something to work on with the end of that Clemson game, letting Clemson back in the game and still getting the win. Now you're not going over the course of the next day thinking, oh, well, we had that so under the bag. We're hot. We're all this. No. He gave you something to work on, and now you get to attack Purdue on the inside where they're weak, where they weren't attacked earlier in the tournament, and then now you get to take over. I'm all sold on McNeese. I think McNeese is going to cover the spread. I think McNeese is going to win outright.
So a couple things to look at for Will Wade and McNeese State, like you're talking about. So Will Wade at LSU essentially did what is now legal, but then was illegal. So Will Wade in the NIL world is a dangerous commodity because he paid players at LSU. That's what got him fired at LSU, was for paying players. Well, now you can pay players legally. So it is interesting. A part of me goes, man, I wonder if Will Wade feels like he took a job too fast, because he could have gotten a bigger job than NC State potentially. It's a good job, but it's a middle of the pack ACC job. Given that if he wins this game, okay, if he wins this game and takes McNeese State a 12 seed, to the Sweet 16. That essentially is the mid-major equivalent of the Final Four. And my goodness gracious, the swag off this team is unbelievable. You can bet this offshore. Now, you can't bet it onshore, but what's the walkout song, Terrell? Because you literally can bet offshore as to what song McNeese State is going to come out.
I would love to know the options.
Oh, you want to know the options? Okay.
Yes, please.
I'll tell you all the options right now as to what you can walk out. The leader is Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us. That's the most significant.
Of course. Okay.
For the walkout songs to happen. I just can't believe that the manager is getting as much attention as he's getting. I mean, there's a lot of people who are out here saying, wait a minute, this kid, the cheerleaders are wearing socks with his face on it.
Yep. Amir Khan. Shout out to him.
That's his name?
Yep. Amir Khan. Shout out to him. He has set the tone for managers worldwide. I think managers should now be looking at him as the pedigree of, hey, this is where we want to be at. We want to see guys like Amir Khan, the managers that don't get the credit for the things they do, go out there and be recognized.
I mean, Amir Khan's a boxer. That's his name is Amir Khan.
Yeah,
that's true. His name is Amir Khan. It was too quick. I don't know. You could bet it offshore. I can't find it in my email, but you bet it offshore. Kendrick Lamar is the odds-on favorite. There's a couple other ones. Aesop Rocky's up there. There's a couple of other options.
Freestyle. I think Freestyle Lil Baby's a good one
for walkout. So we'll see what actually is the walkout song, because I mean CBS is going to put it on today because everyone's talking about this kid and what's going to happen. I don't have a play in this game, to be quite honest. I don't know what to do with this. This is an in-game bet for me. I do think that McNeese State is live to cover, but we're going to know pretty quickly as to whether or not they can handle the physicality of Purdue. And if they get pushed around, yikes. That this could be. McNeese is 9-9 away from home. They were 11-11 in conference. Purdue wasn't great away from home, 8-10 ATS, but they were 13-9 in the Big Ten. They've been playing decent down the stretch. Win over High Point by 12, but again, High Point couldn't handle the physicality of Purdue. We'll see if McNeese can do so here today. Guys, as we're breaking these down in these games, you guys have to jump in with this. As the madness continues, we are going to be live every Tuesday. If you like what you're seeing right now, watch us every Tuesday, 5:30 Eastern time on the BettingPros YouTube channel. It's easy to get there, youtube.com/BettingPros. We'll give you all the plays for the Sweet 16 for Thursday and Friday. And then we're back here on Saturday to do the Elite 8 for Saturday, and then into the Final Four and into what's going to happen for Saturday, Sunday, and then the following weekend for the Final Four and the National Championship. So be watching for that. Tune in to hear all of our plays every Tuesday, 5:30 Eastern time on the Betting Pros YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/bettingpros. All right. Bet number 2, or game number 2 in that pod in the Midwest region, Arkansas and St. John's. This is the coaching matchup everyone's talking about. It is a Paisan Bowl. It's Providence, which has maybe the highest Italian-American population in America. You have John Calipari and Rick Pitino on the same court today, with St. John's favored by 7 in this. Is this number surprising how heavy it is, given how well Arkansas has been playing, in your opinion, Terrell?
No, I figured they'd probably come around at about this number. St. John's has been really, really good defensively, and we can't take that for a fact. And if Arkansas has been good defensively, but Arkansas also has issues of just regular offense against anybody, even bad defensive teams. So you go and you send a top 5 defense at them, and they're going to be looking like a chicken with their head cut off. With that said, I was always taking the points here in the Italian American Bowl. Like, come on, what? There was no way I was ever laying points in this game.
I don't know what to do with this. So St. John's has covered 5 straight games. The last 4 they've covered by 6.5. That's 5 by 6.5, by 9, by 12.5, by 9.5, and by 11.5. They aren't just covering. They are completely walking to the window with easy ticket cashing for people that have been backing St. John's. It was my first and only favorite bet that I made in the opening round of 64 was to lay 17.5 points against St. John's. And I was getting text messages from people at halftime going like, are you nervous about St. John's in Omaha? I was like, no. I was like, in the second half, this is the way to bet this game, guys. if St. John's is tied at halftime, whatever the second half number is, take it. St. John's in the second half has been killing people, like just straight up killing people. It takes some time for their physicality to wear on their opponent. The one X factor about this game is what's going to happen with Boogie Flan. In the first game, Arkansas didn't need him, and he looked a little bit lost, to be quite honest. He was sort of running around, you mentioned chicken with the head cut off. Like, so he didn't really know what to do. That's a first-round NBA pick, okay? If he plays more like Boogie Flan today, St. John's might be in trouble because you saw an offense that really didn't know how to incorporate him back in. If they could figure it out, because the bigs today should have an advantage for Arkansas. Their bigs like to step out and shoot threes. That's not so much what St. John's bigs like to do. They're still kind of more traditional, back to the basket type of bigs. I can't wait to see what Boogie Flan looks today. Halftime, this is a bet in the second half for me.
I think Arkansas has the athletes. I think the athleticism of Arkansas is going to be the key here to kind of keep this a close game. And we've seen Arkansas. I mean, my preferred thing would be kind of like how you said, Arkansas gets out to a lead here. They've gotten out to leads before. We've seen it in the SEC tournament. We saw it in the end of the regular season, and then they just found a way to blow those leads, and that ends up being a 4 point game either way. And either way, 7.5 is good money here. So, it's down to 6.5 some spots. Like I'm all over Arkansas here. I'm taking the points.
Yeah, it's a big line. I like so many dogs today. This is really bad. I shouldn't like as many dogs. I mean, as I do.
The favorites had an uncharacteristic round one.
11-5 ATS
for the top 4 seeds. Yeah,
top 4 seeds.
Yeah, that's uncharacteristic. That is extremely uncharacteristic.
So it could be a dog barking day. The next game is the play I made pre-tournament as the upset of the tournament. It happens to involve the team that I'm the closest to, so it's a little bit of a homer pick, I know, but I've been making the comparison to Northern Iowa and Ben Jacobson 15 years ago against Kansas, the overall number 1 seed, in which Greg McDermott's best friend had Ali Farouk-Manesh, who looked a whole lot like Stephen Ashworth, going ahead and hitting the shot that people still talk about 15 years later with the no, oh my God, he hit it. He knocked out Kansas with the shot. Creighton Blue Jays today up against the number 1 overall seed in Auburn. This number is down to 8.5. You can still find some 9.5s in the market, but it's down. It opened up at 10.5. It's being bet down. I agree with the line move. I didn't get it. I took 9.5. This is one of my bets for today. I took it at open as quickly as I could. The books in Vegas opened at 10. It was immediately bet down, which is kind of what the books were hoping for. They wanted to see how many points they had to give Creighton to get the professionals interested. 10 was the number. 9.5 at BetMGM right now. DraftKings down to 8.5, and that's pretty much what we're seeing across the board here in Vegas. 8.5 at Circa, 8.5 at the Superbook. South Point still at 9, but we'll see what happens coming up here over the next couple of, the game starts at 4:10 Pacific, 7:10 Eastern time. I'm on the Jays. What do you like in this one, Terrell?
I haven't gotten to the window on this one. I would like Creighton here. I think that the 8-9 matchups against the 1 seeds this year are probably some of the best that we've seen in a while. As a collective, I think a lot of the 1 seeds are going to have issues, but I think that ultimately I still kind of like the 1 seeds here. Big thing for Creighton is I don't like backing dogs that won by double digits in the first round, in the second round. A lot of everybody starts going, oh, this team is great. They start dubbing that team as the Cinderella, and it's normally not. It's sometimes the dog that kind of squeaks through and says, hey, we're just going to play what we need to do to get the win. And ATS numbers, when you win by double digits in the first round as a dog and you're catching points in the second round, not really a good trend there. So that was enough to make me just say, hey, okay, Creighton does look good, but I'm not going to jump too far into it. I'm not betting this one.
So the Creighton Blue Jays beat the number 1 team in the country in UConn on the road earlier this year. The Creighton Blue Jays beat the number 1 team in Kansas at home this year. This is now the number 1 team in the country, arguably, on a neutral. So this isn't so much of a Cinderella. This is a misseeded team. The Jays never should have been a 9 seed. Like this is not – the committee made – I didn't have a problem with the committee as to who they left out. Like I didn't care about West Virginia. I didn't care about Indiana. I didn't care about Ohio State. I felt like
the seeding was off.
Seeding sucked. Seeding was a mess.
Gonzaga was an 8. Like that's
Gonzaga
crazy.
being an 8 is insanity. The Creighton Blue Jays being, they finished second in the regular season in the Big East and second runner-up in the Big East Conference tournament, and they're a 9 seed. Like, that's insanity to me. If I'm Auburn, I'm like, how the hell are we playing Ryan Kalkbrenner, who was a third-team All-American in the second round? Like, how is that possible? How are you playing a 7'1" kid that's going to cause major problems? Jeremiah Broome is not a dog on the glass. He's a dog, but he's a 6'10" dude that causes matchup problems with power forwards. He's going to see a Kalkbrenner who is literally 7'1" with a wingspan that's gigantic. This is a matchup problem for Auburn and their guards. Pettiford's got to play incredibly well off the bench today, because that's one big advantage that Auburn has, is they have a guard coming off the bench who's a 4 or 5 star player who can really score. Jeremiah Neal scored 29 points in the first game for the Jays. If he scores in the 20s today, Creighton wins the game outright. Like, that's my number, because the Jays need a third scorer. They're going to get points from Ashford. They're going to get points from Kalkbrenner. Are they getting points from Jeremiah Neal? Because he can go up against anybody for Auburn. In the way that kid's been playing, the transfer from Arizona State, he just keeps on getting better and better and better in this system. So I think the Jays will have a shot to win this game late. It's way too many points. 9.5, way too many points in my mind on this one for this matchup between 1 versus 9. Guys, NCAA tournament pick'em contest. It is still live. It's actually live the entire NCAA tournament. If you know college basketball, you can take your bracket knowledge to the next level with our brand new NCAA Tournament Pick'em contest sponsored by FanDuel. Pick your winners and make your predictions against the spread all tournament long for a chance to win up to $1,000 in FanDuel DFS credits, signed jerseys, and free annual BettingPros subscriptions. The best part about all of this is that it's completely free. Enter now at bettingpros.com/contest. It's bettingpros.com/contest, all tournament long. All right, let's go to the late game there in Lexington. Tennessee is going to have the home court advantage, or the home fan advantage. UCLA coming in here. Volunteers, good coaching matchup. Mick Cronin up against Rick Barnes. Number has crept up to 5.5 at DraftKings, 5 at most books at the moment. This game, because this is one of my plays as well. Again, I like the dog here with UCLA and Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm not really sold here on UCLA. I'm really not, but I'm waiting for a chance to fade Tennessee, and it just feels like this isn't here yet. I think that Tennessee has the athletes, they have the defense. I just don't know all the scoring options for Tennessee when they get to the late game. When you look at Ziegler, Lanier, those guards, like I think that they're going to be able to get inside the paint, and they're really going to challenge this UCLA team. I would love to fade Tennessee here in the second round, but I can't do it. So I'm taking Tennessee laying 5.5.
You're going to see a lot of orange in the building. I like Mick Cronin against Rick Barnes here from a coaching matchup. I think Tennessee may win the game. But I think UCLA, because this game, and look, it opened at 133. We're down to 130 from a total perspective. 129.5 at Pinnacle. 130 is the consensus in Las Vegas. That is super low for a college basketball game. 130. I think if we go over 130, Tennessee is going to win this game and most likely cover. But if it goes under, like the professionals are betting it at the moment, UCLA is going to be right there at the end. And rather, with a total this low, I'd rather have 5.5 points in my pocket than hoping that we get free throws to cover. This thing could land 4. It could land 5 really easily on this. And UCLA beating Utah State by 25. And you could say, well, the Mountain West Conference wasn't that impressive, Matt. Well, look at Colorado State looked great. New Mexico looked great. So, Utah State, fine. They got bounced, but I really like what we've seen out of UCLA in that opening game. And I wasn't really all that impressed with Tennessee against Wofford. You can say it's Wofford, Matt, 15-point win. They didn't cover. They were laying 18.5. Maybe they're saving it up, but Tennessee against the number in the SEC this year was 9-12. They were 9-9 away from home. I just think this is too many points. Give me the 5.5 here. Caesars got it at 5.5. I'll take the Bruins and Mick Cronin to have a game plan to keep this game close. But you may want to just bet the under. 130.5 is just, who knows? This could be a 55-50 game. Legitimately, this might be, if you like points, this is not the game for you. You're going to be probably pretty bored.
Yeah. Real quick, Teams that are underdog in round one win
Yeah.
their round one game by double digits and are a dog in round two are 4-26 straight up and 7-23 against the spread in their last 30 games.
In the tournament.
Yes. And so that applies to UCLA, that applies to Creighton, and that applies
Wait
to
a minute.
Drake
There's
today.
no way UCLA was a dog to Utah State.
Oh no. They was a favorite. No, that's not
Yeah,
UCLA.
there's no way there's
No,
no
so
way.
it goes
Just
to
Creighton.
Drake. So it goes Creighton and Drake are the
Yeah, which two teams I
that
love. Which is and I get the point of the trend, but to steal a line from my friend Dave Sherapan, the trends are your friends until they're not. The problem with this season versus any other season is we've never seen the NIL in the overwhelming number of talent be at the top than at the bottom. Like normally we've seen Cinderella. We don't have a Cinderella left. Like there really isn't a team that you're going to be like Drake. You might consider if they win today, maybe they could be classified as that. But that team's won so many games, not just at the D1 level, at the D2 level. Like there's 3 kids on that Drake team that have 2 national championship rings from the D2 level. Like they have won.
That's not a Cinderella.
I don't
you go
think
from
Drake,
D2 national championship
I don't
to
think
in the
Drake's a Cinderella.
NCAA tournament.
I don't classify Ben
What is a
McCollum and
Cinderella?
Drake.
What's
I
a Cinderella?
McNeese would be a Cinderella. That would be Cinderella to me. Coming out of nowhere and not have any pedigree and go, whoa, this team's beating who? Like they beat Purdue. That's a team that was a number 1 seed. You know, a team the last 2 years has been very highly thought of. So to me, that's a Cinderella. You beat Purdue and you're in the Sweet 16, I would classify McNeese. But you need to be a double-digit seed in like the teens, like 13, 14, 15 to me, to be a real Cinderella. We don't have any left. We've cleaned that out like we thought. This was going to be a very chalky tournament. And so far, it's been a really chalky tournament, which is music to CBS's ears. This is exactly what they want. They want brand name, they want star player, and they want a Final Four that's got all 4 number 1 seats. Like if they could pick it, that's what they want. So we'll see how this plays out. So I've been very careful with the trends for that reason, because this bracket and this year is unlike any year we have seen in college basketball. So I'll be curious to see how UCLA plays and how
Fortunately for us, a lot of Mountain West schools still left out. So we know that trend is still good.
2 of them won. I mean,
and Shaka's still not good in tournament. So we know that trend's still good too.
Colorado State and New Mexico both won outright. They both look good. I mean, I know you could run and say, okay, the other 2 schools didn't look good. Utah State lost by 25, but
the New Mexico had Shaka. That was a Mountain West Shaka Smart. Mountain West Shaka Smart. I'm really
Colorado
mad. I trust my guy.
Went and beat up on Memphis. They won it easily in the second half. They coasted over Memphis. So like, I get the point, but like, there's 2 schools in Mexico and in New Mexico and Colorado State that say, hey, wait a minute, we went 2-0 and we won our games pretty easily.
We'll see.
I mean, so we'll see. New Mexico could have a chance. That team played really well last night. And Colorado State, I think, beats Maryland. We talked about that last Tuesday. I think CSU's got a chance to make a run here in the dance. So to kind of carry the flag.
If they don't beat Maryland, I'm going to be so sick.
Right?
We'll see. I need Maryland and Wisconsin to lose.
Well, I think you're going to get it with Wisconsin today. We'll get to that here in a second. Gonzaga and Houston. This is wild. I mean, Gonzaga, stats-wise, is a top 12 team in college basketball, metric-wise, KenPom-wise. I mean, this is a very talented Gonzaga team. If I'm Houston, I'm going, what is going on? How am I playing against Gonzaga in the second round? For that reason, I couldn't bet it. But any thoughts on Houston Gonzaga?
Oh, yeah, I'm on Houston in first half. Houston, very, very good first half team. Sampson always gets them up for the first half. Doesn't matter the opponent. I think they're going to punch Gonzaga in the mouth early in the game. While I do think Gonzaga was inappropriately misseeded.
Yes,
and
another bad.
I don't think they're anywhere near Houston, because I think Houston's so far above almost everybody else. I think that there's still a sizable gap there, and people are saying, oh, Gonzaga's misseeded and they're running to bet Gonzaga, and I understand why, but I think this Houston team is really, really good. The defense and the offense on this team, I think, is going to be too much, and they're going to slow that pace down to a pace that they prefer rather than Gonzaga, and they're just going to pick them apart in the half court. I think this is going to be a slow, methodical burn, and Houston's going to end up coasting through this game at the end and really not have any resistance. So I'm all over Houston here. Give me Houston in the first half, as I always play them, and I'm just going to chill on that.
All right, so here's how I'm betting Houston and how I'm betting Duke. I'm taking $100 and I'm betting money line, and I'm going to roll it over every game. So last game, you won basically 23 cents. So it didn't matter because it was minus 10,000. So you weren't winning any money by betting $100. This is the day you can start doing this if you want to go by this strategy, to take $100 and go ahead and roll it over Houston money line. Now, you're going to lay $100 to basically win 50. Okay. It's not like you're going to get rich on this, but this at the end, if they make the Final Four, you should have more money than what you would have bet at plus 200 or plus 300 for them to get to the Final Four, for them to win the national championship. As they go to a Final Four and we go to a national championship game, if you want to keep going, you will wind up with a better price than what they were to win the national championship, with essentially was 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, depending on the book that you were looking at. So I agree with you. Houston wins. I don't want to play around with point spreads. I think this game might be close. This could be a scary, scary second round matchup for both number one seeds with Auburn and with Houston. But I think ultimately the number one seeds most likely advance. Auburn hasn't made the second weekend since 1999. One trip for Bruce Pearl. Houston's had the same type of bugaboo when it comes to losing early. Calvin Sampson's been tremendous recently, but he hasn't won the national championship. And when you have a team like Gonzaga sitting in front of you, oh my goodness gracious, like this is going to be a really tough world for him. So I'm just taking money line here with Houston up against Gonzaga. Drake and Texas Tech plays the early game in that bracket in the Midwest. You mentioned it with the numbers. So are you on Texas Tech laying 7?
Yeah, I'm not betting it because I do really like this Drake team, and I didn't really get there on the bet, so I'm not betting it. But a little bit of a lane to Texas Tech here, and saying that maybe this was Drake is the team that I'm always like, oh, I want this team to make a deep run, and they're so good, and they're all that, and they just normally just don't get there. Kind of afraid about the points, Drake making it a close game, and Texas Tech maybe winning at the end. So I really didn't get a good feel, and I'm not betting Drake in the second round or Texas Tech.
Look at the total. 126.5. I mean, oh my goodness gracious. Yep. Now, I think this at Hard Rock on your screen, if you're watching on Twitch, this is wrong. I don't believe that Hard Rock is there. So I think our data may be a little bit behind. If they're at 9.5, somebody go and drive to Hard Rock right now and bet this, because this is way off market. Like just based on principle, Tech may win by 10, but 9.5, that's unbelievable. I mean, everybody else is at 6.5 or 7. So we're seeing a dramatic difference. Money coming in on Drake here in Vegas. As we're talking, the number just moved to 6.5 at Circa, 6.5 at Superbook. So
don't tease me. Don't tease me.
So here we go with the professional money late coming in on Drake here to push this number down to 6.5. I got 7. This is an in-game play, boys and girls. Okay. If you're going to bet this, it's 6.5 at Hard Rock. Thank you. I thought so. I was like, I don't think that number is right. But if you are going to bet Drake and take the points, you must be watching this game. Do not bet it and forget it. Okay. Don't take the points and go do something else with a honey-do list. Okay. You got to watch this game, because if Drake has a lead at any part late in the first half or early in the second half, you're going to wind up getting plus points on Texas Tech. And if you get +2, +3, +4, somewhere in that range with Tech, build yourself a 10-point middle. And so it doesn't matter who wins, because like Terrell said, I really think there could be an opportunity here late with free throws, given the total that we're talking about, the number being right, like right on the number. And so you want to have plus points on both. Take the 7 pre, get an in-game number with Texas Tech. But if Bennett Sturtz and this Bulldog team can knock out Texas Tech, they already beat Missouri, they already beat Kansas State, they already beat Vanderbilt. Why not take down Texas Tech here if you're Drake? Because they're going to play a frustrating style that I think Tech will be okay with. But man, until you play Drake, you got to play him. Joey says, so if my Drake bet starts going well, bet the other side, so I probably juice out. Not necessarily juice out, dude. I mean, know what number you're playing, right? Know the juice you're betting. But yes, I mean, you're trying to middle it, okay? So if you take Texas Tech +3 and Texas Tech wins by 5, you cash both bets. You don't juice out, you go 2-0, okay? That's called building a middle. If you play it right, You might be able to get +5, +6 on both sides, depending on what happens in game and how the game starts with Drake. So the way I build it is I build a 10-point middle. I'm about risk mitigation. I'm about making sure I'm making money. And I'm also about, hey, look, gambling's hard. Late game situations. You want to be sitting there going, like Terrell's talking about, oh my gosh, it's 6. They foul. They hit a free throw. It's 7. Miss. And they make it, and Tech wins by 8. Like, the books aren't stupid. They know what people are going to bet today. They know people are on Drake. They know the world loves Drake. So just heads up on that. Know what you're betting and know how you're playing, and the juice may not matter. You only pay the juice when you lose. If you win both bets, it doesn't matter what number you or what juice you paid. You win both bets. You go 2-0 on the game. Let's go to the next bracket. BYU and Wisconsin in the East. Money coming in here on Wisconsin. We're back up to 1.5. Total is 155.5. It's rising, as you would expect, with 2 heavy 3-point shooting teams. This is altitude, Terrell. This is in Denver.
Yep.
Give me BYU. I got BYU to the Elite 8. I think BYU money line wins outright today.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you. I think BYU money line wins out. I've already built my contingency of just fading Wisconsin in the tournament, and I have BYU to the Sweet 16 already. But does that mean I'm not going to bet BYU here today because I already have a BYU future? No, I'm 100% going to take that plus money on the plus 100, plus 100, whatever it is. Yes, 100%. I'm taking BYU here. I don't think Texas is going to keep up. Whatever situation that you have Texas in this game, not Texas, Wisconsin in this game, I don't think that Wisconsin is going to be able to keep up at the end. They don't have a game plan when the game is close, and they're playing a really, really good shooting team. This BYU team can hit shots from anywhere on the court. Wisconsin throws up shots and just kind of prays that they go in and just says, oh, we got it. Yes. Okay. And that was really the thing with High Point. High Point just wasn't physical enough to be able to handle them and let them score too much. But High Point was in that game the duration of the entire game. They let it get away from a little bit at the end, and they ended up not getting the cover. But it wasn't like Wisconsin just ran away with that game as people would think. No, BYU 100% has the altitude in their favor. They have the offense in their favor. And I think that Wisconsin is going to have a bad enough shooting day that BYU is going to be able to get this done. This is my favorite play on the board. BYU should not be a dog here.
I'm with you. Offensively, BYU is 9th in efficiency. Wisconsin is 13th in offensive efficiency. Pace of play, BYU is 183rd. Wisconsin pace of play, they are 149th. It's not like this game's going to be rocket fast, but just the number of 3-point shots we're going to see between these two teams is going to be quite dramatic. This is like the modern 2025 basketball. BYU and Wisconsin play how everyone plays. Dribble drive, kick to a corner 3. You're going to see that over and over again. When Wisconsin played in the Big Ten title game, you saw this against Michigan where they just got tired. Their legs wore out. This is, not 3 games in 3 days, but it's altitude. And when you're playing at Mile High and you aren't accustomed to it, BYU is used to it. They showed out against VCU. They showed that in the second half, they just had more legs. They had more pop. Same thing's going to happen here today, I think. BYU plus 1.5, but that plus 106 on the money line, absolutely jump in. And Addison, yes, I would hedge on it. I don't think the 75-1 is going to come in here. I haven't liked Wisconsin at all. I liked them at certain parts during the season, but the way that they've been playing down the stretch, I have a hard time seeing Wisconsin win this game. Now, they may go and shoot the lights out. And if they do, okay. BYU is going to give them chances to shoot threes, try to rebound. 23-13 is 23-13. That's Wisconsin's ATS record. The problem for them is that BYU is 21-13 ATS wise, and they are 10-7 on the road ATS wise, and they're coming off of a huge win over VCU. And sure, BYU lost by 20 to Houston, but that snapped a streak where they had won every game in February and in March, other than taking on Houston, where they lost in the Big 12 tournament. This is a BYU team that put up a ton of points on Iowa State. So, when they get rolling offensively, they can shoot anybody and shoot down anybody. So I like BYU to win the game here today. I'm with you on that. Finally, for Saturday, before we go to Sunday, I have no clue what to do with Michigan State and Texas A&M. Same arena in Denver at Ball Arena. I have no clue what to do with this game. I can't get Michigan right. I think A&M isn't very good. If I had to play it, I'd take Michigan. But what's your thoughts on the Wolverines and the Aggies?
Aggies got too many athletes. Wolverines going to play too slow. Try to be physical, but I don't think that's going to bother Texas A&M at all. I actually think Texas A&M Buzz. It's been a while for Buzz. I like him to get past second round here against Michigan. I'm not really sold on that Michigan team.
I had UC San Diego. I thought they'd win the game outright. It pushed on 3. I took 3.5. I took 3, closed 2.5. So I guess like technically they did cover the closing number, but that was wild. There could have been a foul at the end called there, and there wasn't. Like there was some interesting things happening at the end of the Michigan San Diego game that could have led to a cover for San Diego. But we'll see how it all kind of plays out here today. But if I'm betting it, I'm with you. I would take A&M, but I'm not touching this game. I don't know what to do here with this one. Guys, if you like what you're hearing right now, The Daily Juice, it's a podcast that I host here thanks to BettingPros. It's a 15 to 20-minute daily podcast, 365 days a year. It's in your inbox, whether it be audio or video. We go through every sport, not just college basketball, NBA, NHL, college football. College basketball is obviously a heavy point right now, but if you like betting hockey, like betting in the NBA, we'll do horse racing, we'll do golf, we'll do basically anything and everything, even NASCAR. We'll get into it with the Daily Juice podcast. Go and subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel right now, youtube.com/bettingpros, so you guys can be aware when the new episode drops every night, or go to wherever you listen to your audio podcasts and subscribe to the Betting Pros and the Daily Juice podcasts on those, whether it be Apple or Google or wherever you guys get your audio podcasts. To Sunday we go, and the 8 games happening. Let's start in the East with Duke and Baylor here. This is going to be a really interesting matchup because Cooper Flagg is going to get tested. Wasn't really tested in the first game, played about 20 minutes, which is what we thought he would play. Duke destroyed. Easy W, easy win for the Blue Devils. Now comes Baylor. Big win for Baylor, hard-fought win for Baylor in the first round. This number is 12.5 and climbing. Terrell, how many points do I got to give you to take Baylor?
Man, this Baylor team really did suck all year, man. And I get it. I get it. I was 100%. Baylor was one of my favorite plays yesterday. I mean, and they gave me a little bit of a scare there at the end, but oh man, I really, really think 11.5 is way too much for the second round of the tournament for the Duke team. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bet. I'm going to bet Scott Drew, man. 11-4 ATS in the tournament since 2017. It's a lot of points. Maybe Duke wins. It's like 8 or 9.
I know Duke people who are nervous, who think, my gosh, again, just like Houston and just like Auburn, the committee put Baylor as a what? Like, the numbers aren't great, but they have NBA talent. They have NBA talent. Like,
but they've been bad all year. Like, the out of Baylor, not playing at Baylor has been horrible for them over the course of the entire season.
I mean, they lost at home too. I mean, Houston beat them at home.
Yeah.
They lost at home to Arizona. They lost at home to TCU.
I wasn't mad about Baylor's seeding. I really wasn't. I was like, man, you know what? If you made them lower, I probably would have understood you, because there's been multiple times Baylor's made me very, very frustrated this year. But that's what happens in the tournament, man. Sometimes those teams that frustrate me all year just get up for that one game, and it's the 1 seed against Duke, and you're laying 11.5. Like, that's a lot of points in the second round. I don't think people understand. Even for a 1 seed, that is a lot of points in the second round. I'm just going to take the points.
I want more. I'm going to wait. I want in-game. I want 13, 14, 15. I want more. Like, you're going to have to, you got to give me like 14, 15 points to take. The way that Duke has beaten people this year, like when Duke wants to put their foot down, Duke can really beat up people badly. Like, they can win games by, they beat Illinois 110-67 on a neutral. Like, that's the worry. That's the type of game that I'm concerned about. If you back Baylor, the Illinois game, go watch what Duke did in New York to Illinois. Like, that's my worry. It's like, careful taking the points when it comes to backing Baylor. Connecticut gets Florida. This is an awesome bracket. If you're in the East, you're getting just tremendous games. Connecticut, their win yesterday. I had Oklahoma. I thought the end of game situation was a little weird there, how that whole played out with missed shots. We were 2 shots away from covering for Oklahoma, but UConn never really was in jeopardy of losing the game to Oklahoma. But here comes Florida, who just has killed everyone. They're my national championship pick. So this is, again, the same way you can play it. I have a 20-1 ticket on Florida, but you can take $100 and you can just roll it over if you want with the Gators, because I do think Gator money line is the play.
Yeah. It's give and take with these large spreads for me. If one hits, I kind of feel like the other is not going to hit sometimes. And I'm telling you, I think Florida's going to roll through UConn. And I told myself before when I saw the bracket, yeah, I'm probably going to get some outrageous number with Florida and UConn, and it's probably going to be the right side. This Florida team is probably going to run through a lot of the teams they face here.
Right.
And, some people talk about seeding and UConn being a tough A seed for this one. I think that the gap between Florida and Houston and everybody else is too wide. Too wide. Yeah, I'll lay the points here with Florida. I think Florida's going to come in here. I think those bigs are going to be dominant. They're going to make things really, really tough on the inside. UConn's defense has been a question all year for them in different spots, and now they're getting one of the best offensive teams in the nation that have so many different options. It's just too many different options here for Florida. I think Florida is going to slow burn this, and when we look up at the end of the game, it's going to be like a 12, 13-point game. Give me Florida.
Yeah, I'm with you. You can don't do if you have that 20-1 ticket teller, don't do anything. You just sit there and watch this game and just watch it at 20-1 because yes, the odds are way down on the Gators. Only thing is the Gators are a very popular pick, so come the Final Four, we might work off of it. But as of right now, you don't have to do much unless you want to just bet $100 and roll it over because I do think Florida wins this game. But the difference between this number and say the Houston number, it's minus 500 on the money line for Florida here against UConn. Like. That's getting pretty expensive in terms of laying. You're not going to make much money on the bet. St. Mary's in Alabama. I think St. Mary's wins the game outright. I'm taking the points, but on my bracket, I took Auburn out in the second round, and I took Alabama out in the second round. They almost got beat by Bobby Moe. Robert Morris almost took them out. How do you feel about St. Mary's in Alabama?
Oh yeah, I was completely just watching the game and the defensive attempt that Alabama did. I was completely out on Alabama. Like at that moment, as I was watching the game, I was like, yeah, oh dude, I can't wait to fade this Alabama team. And then I went back to look at the bracket and I saw that they got the winner of St. Mary's and Vanderbilt, and I was like, yeah. Oh, I don't feel good about this anymore. Why couldn't they get somebody more interesting in the second round that I could sit here and really, really get behind? Like, yes, the St. Mary. I didn't like St. Mary's against Vanderbilt.
Really?
I didn't. Okay. I thought that they caught it fire in the second half, but that first half, it was nothing. There was no offense. And there was a point in time where I'm watching the first, are they going to get to 50 points here? Is 50 points going to be at it at the end of the game? Like they were really, really struggling on the offense side of the ball. And they were really more missing shots. And you look at it, the game before they played Gonzaga, they couldn't hit anything from three. That first half against Vanderbilt, they couldn't hit anything from three. Sometimes you do only need a half, though, Matt. So I will give you that. Sometimes you only need a half of good basketball. They played good basketball in that second half. It could roll over. But in the past, 4 halves of basketball, I've seen one good half of basketball from St. Mary's. That doesn't make me feel good about an Alabama team that consistently will score the basketball. And if they're going to do anything, they're going to go out there and they're going to try to score the basketball. So I'm on Alabama here, but I'm not betting this. I'm just going to sit and watch. If Alabama goes out to St. Mary's, then you know what? It is what it is. But my fate of Alabama comes next round.
Yeah, it's wild to see the total here for an Alabama game to be 148. I mean, this is the lowest total of any game this year involving Alabama by a ways. The previous low from a total perspective for Alabama was Houston, 150, where the game went over by 15 points. That was back on the 26th of November here in Las Vegas. Like, it's been a really long time since we've seen a total anywhere near 148 and a half for an Alabama game. So that's St. Mary's. That's their pace of play, and that's how they're going to grind it down. Can Alabama play a grinded game? Now, they did against Houston, but that was a long time ago. St. Mary's is 360th in pace of play. Alabama is the exact opposite. They are number 1 in the country in pace of play. So who gets to dictate tempo will have a lot to say with how this game goes. I'll take St. Mary's. I'll take their experience up against Alabama, who Robert Morris hung right with them. Look, Grant Nelson needs to be the same way he was in that game against Robert Morris. He was a huge factor in that game down the stretch. If he can't be a big factor, Alabama is going to have a tough time on the glass against St. Mary's. And St. Mary's did enough in the second half defensively to really put the clamps down and frustrate the living heck out of Vanderbilt. Vandy just similar to Alabama. 59-56 was the final. That game went under by 20.5 points. 20.5. But I agree, Dan Obetz. Bama's beatable. It depends on which St. Mary's team shows up. They got to hit their threes. I mean, 100% St. Mary's has got to be able to hit their threes to score. This is a team that's 247th in three-point percentage. Okay. Bottom line, got to hit their threes. If they do, they could knock out Alabama. If they don't, they could be sent home losing by 15 or 20, pretty quickly, pretty easily. It wouldn't stun me at all if that happens, but I do like St. Mary's plus the points. New Mexico and Michigan State. Where are you on this one? I'm not touching this game. I got Michigan State in the Final Four because I think Auburn loses. But where are you on this one between the Spartans and the Lobos?
No, I'm on Michigan State. I'm still on Michigan State. I had Michigan State here no matter who won between Marquette and New Mexico. And that was a lot less of New Mexico and more of Richard Pitino out-coaching Shaka Smart in a situation that I should have been on Shaka Smart being outcoached in this situation. The Italian Americans also very much dominating the tournament. I that is my bad. Should have never faded the Italian Americans in the tournament. Shout out to my guy Tommy DeVito. Got the shirt on. I'm on. Oh man, here I am fading the Italian Americans again, going up against Michigan State. But Izzo, this is Izzo, and I think that first game was the cobwebs shaking everything off, coming out here. Play this New Mexico team. You start to hey, let's build on what we did yesterday or the day before. Let's build on it. Yeah, I know. Never fade the Italian Americans. I'm sorry, man, but here I am. I'm still rocking with Izzo. I think Izzo. I have them in these Final Four. I have them in the Final Four, and so I think that the Bryant game was concerning at different points in time, but at the end of the day, they figured it out in the second half. They got the cover. They felt good going into it. I think that this is all right. New Mexico got that first win. They're really, really smelling themselves, and then they get promptly kicked out next. So all over Michigan State here. Maybe not a bet, though. Maybe not a bet. Maybe I find a more creative way to play this, or I find a live number, but still looking for how I'm going to bet this. But there's some way, some shape, some form, I will be on Michigan State.
Yeah, in-game for sure. Ole Miss, Iowa State in the South. This is going to be interesting. Iowa State's nicked up. Ole Miss just keeps on hitting big shots. I was in Nashville. I watched their game against Arkansas. Another big three gets hit late. That sends Ole Miss into the second round. Same thing happened in the first round for them in the SEC tournament. When does the magic run out for Chris Beard? And is this the night that it runs out as Ole Miss has got an Iowa State team that's more talented but not healthy?
Yeah, I'm torn.
5 is a tough number to bet.
I'm torn. I want to back my guy. No, matter of fact, give me Iowa State just because I want to back my guy, Curtis Jones. That's it. I really, really like Curtis Jones as a player. And I would love for him to be one of those darlings of the tournament where he has some 20 off the bench here in this game. So literally no play for me, but I will pick Iowa State just because I like Curtis Jones.
Yeah, moneyline parlay play. I think taking Iowa State moneyline is the bet, but I want to go near the side. I think you could find a partner, if you will, with them for that. So I think you find a money line partner to go up, but I like Iowa State to win the game. Illinois, Kentucky, numbers flipped. Opened with the Kentucky favored. Now Illinois favored by 1.5 in this one. You like Underwood here to knock out Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, if they don't take this seriously, like with some of the fundamentals of basketball is just knowing who's moving without the ball and where they're going and kind of keeping that person in front of you. And that's one thing that this Kentucky team just doesn't do. Like they kind of lose people in traffic ball watching, and it kind of gets really, really frustrating at times, especially if you're a Kentucky fan, because you're giving up a bunch of points that you probably shouldn't given up. And so it was different points in that game where I'm like, all right, they're not getting that from Troy right here like I would have liked. But if they play somebody else, maybe like in Illinois, who is not afraid to go to the basket, not afraid to run the score up on somebody and make this a game, I think that they're going to make it competitive. So a little split here too. I haven't really gotten to an angle on much of the second round Sunday games yet, but I could see myself getting down on Illinois here, laying a short number.
We got someone. It says take the SEC. I know it means more. I know you SEC folks are going to like it.
I did hit under 8.5 wins for the SEC. Came in at
you got 8. They went 8-6. You just got there.
Got my fade of the SEC. So.
You just got there at 8.5. So they did go over 500.
And Ole Miss won. Like I had Ole Miss as one of the losers, and I still hit. Yeah, I was very happy about that.
Yeah, Texas blew that. Texas should have won that game, and then Texas would have been the one to make it go 9. I had it going 9-5, but good number by the books to have that hinge right there at 8.5. For the wins in the first half in the first round for the NCAA tournament. All right, 2 more games. Colorado State catching 7 or 7.5 to Maryland here. This is a game out west in Seattle. This is a really big game. I have a 4-1 ticket on Colorado State to make the Sweet 16.
Same.
So here we go in game. I'm not laying $3 with Maryland money line. I'm waiting in game. And give me a better price, and I'll take Maryland money line. But I do think CSU's got a real shot to knock out Maryland.
And I will take the opposite approach of you, and I will double down on Colorado State because one Mountain West team always makes the run. It was normally San Diego State. This year's Colorado State. They get the crab 5 here, and I think that that's going to mean something in that second half. I am not afraid of this if they go down to Maryland in the first half. That's not why I'm betting this. I'm betting this fading the fouls. I'm betting this fading the usage, everything, and going into that starting lineup. They put everything into that starting lineup. And if they're not 100% ready to go in the second half to a Colorado State team that understands that they can get hot and they can buckle down on defense and really, really lock down and make those adjustments at the second half, oh, man, Maryland is toast here. So, yeah, I'm doubling down on my Colorado State future with taking the 7.5 here, sprinkling on the money line. We always get one Mountain West, not 2. We only get 1.
I wish we listened to ourselves, or at least I listened to us when it came to the breakdown between Maryland and Grand Canyon, because we talked about it when the bracket came out, and we said, man, Grand Canyon getting Maryland was a horrible matchup. Like, that was the absolute worst draw that Grand Canyon could have gotten, a much more talented and better team. Grand Canyon loses the game 81-49. Maryland blew their doors off. It was never even close. So we talked about that. We're like, man, that's a really bad matchup for Grand Canyon, and Maryland did what Maryland was supposed to do. I am a little concerned about Queen and company. So I'm going to do what I always do, which is I have a chance to guarantee profit. So I'm going to guarantee profit. It's just how much am I going to guarantee? I'm not laying $3. I want something under $2 for Maryland. And hopefully we'll get that in game. Or maybe if Colorado State goes wire to wire, I'll just do what you're doing. I'll kick my feet up and let's just go. Let's just cash the 4-1 ticket.
Let's go Colorado State.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and cash the 4-1 and make it easy. And finally, the game that I cannot wait to watch out west, Oregon and Arizona. Remember, Oregon's a Big Ten team. Oregon's not in the same conference as Arizona, but they've known each other quite well.
Oh, the last time they played. Shout out to Dana Altman knocking them out of the last Pac-12 tournament ever.
So I always back Altman in tournaments. I backed him yesterday. I didn't think they get off to a 16-2 start against Liberty, but I love Dana Altman in tournaments. I love Dana Altman in quick turnarounds. I'm not saying Tommy Lloyd's a bad coach, but I just think Dana Altman, give me the points. I'm all over Oregon. Give me 4.5. If it, fours are out there right now, the number's coming down, opened at 4.5. In Vegas, we're already down to 3.5. So if you have a chance to grab the 4, but I love Oregon here at +4. You?
Yeah, remember when I said I didn't have a lot of plays on the card for Sunday yet? Yeah, yep. Oregon's definitely one. I already have Oregon in the Sweet 16 +220.
Me too.
Going back on them again, I like Oregon to be able to get this done. This was the handicap. Hey, we are feeling really, really good if Akron does something crazy. But if they don't, we still get Arizona. And the last time we saw Arizona in the tournament, he buckled down. He handled business, and he sent them home in their last chance in the Pac-12 tournament. I think that we have a good chance of him doing it again. And I like this Oregon team, and they play better when they're not in Oregon. They play so much better when they're not in Oregon. So don't go to Oregon anymore.
You're right. They're 10-7-1 away from home, and you start rolling through some of their victories and what they have done. I mean, they beat Iowa on the road. They beat Wisconsin on the road. They did go through a little swoon in the end of January where they lost to Minnesota. They lost to UCLA, and they lost to Nebraska. They lost to Michigan. They lost to Michigan State, that 5-game stretch. But after they had that 5-game stretch, there was a big come to Jesus meeting with that roster, and they all came around, and Altman did what Altman normally does, and that is get a hold of these guys, make them refocus. And since then, they've been one of the hottest teams in college basketball. The only loss they have is to Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament. They've beaten everybody else, and they've gotten big wins, wins that you'd go, okay, Indiana was a big win for them that they really needed, helped to punch their ticket to get into the dance, beating Northwestern, beating Rutgers, Iowa, Wisconsin, USC, Indiana, Washington, teams that they had lost to earlier. They came back and got revenge on. So I really liked what we saw last night out of Oregon. I like the shooting. They came out with an energy.
Whoops.
I froze. Caleb Love shoots you in games and out of games. This is a game where I think he shoots them out. I'm with you. I'm taking Oregon here with a W outright, but I'll take the points at +4 for the Ducks up against Arizona. There's going to be a ton of fans. That's going to be fun to see because obviously in Seattle, that should be a lot of Duck fans in that building for Oregon, but Arizona on the West Coast should bring some people as well. All right, Terrell, as we wrap here on our first Twitch live stream here for the second round of the NCAA tournament, what are you playing today?
All right, today BYU is the first play on the card, Matt. I mean, it was right there, plus money. Taking BYU on the money line, get it done. I like McNeese +6.5, and on the money line to handle Purdue, and I like Houston in the first half. Laying 2.5 here in the first half. I think they get it done.
I'm on 4 plays. I'm on 4 dogs. I am going to be playing off of these numbers because I hate the fact that I have 4 plays and all 4 are on dogs. Creighton +9.5. That's pretty much 9. UCLA +5.5. Pretty much 5. BYU +1.5. We've seen some money come in here where it's 1 or 1.5. I'm with you on BYU, and I'm taking Drake +7 today to keep this magical run going for Ben McCollum. Iowa folks, you guys can wait another week until you can hire Ben McCollum. Let's get Drake to win this game outright, punch the ticket, and shock everybody. They already knocked out a Missouri team in the SEC. Let's take down one of the top teams in the Big 12. Again, that was a Super Bowl type game against Missouri. Those kids played at Northwest Missouri State. Now they beat Missouri. This is Texas Tech out of the Big 12. All of these kids dreamed about playing Big 12 or Big 10 basketball. Chance to put their name. Bennett starts. Got to be the best player on the court. If he is, well, we could very well see Drake as an 11 seed punching the ticket to go into. One final question. Thoughts on Drake and Texas Tech going over 126? No. I mean, again, I like the dog. Dog and under tends to correlate a lot of times in college basketball, and I think you're going to see it here. If I like Drake to cover, Drake has got to keep this game low scoring. So high scoring, Texas Tech wins the game. They cover. Low scoring, Drake, I think, will be right there. We need like a 55-50 game, like I mentioned. I mean, I need a low scoring game in the 50s, and I think Drake's going to make this very difficult on Texas Tech. If it goes high scoring, Agree, Terrell?
I agree. I think if Texas Tech lets Drake score a bunch of points, they might also be screwed, though. That is my only.
Fair.
If they let Drake score, there's a real serious problem defensively for Texas Tech.
Very true. He is Terrell Furman. I am Matt Perrault. Fast break bets. Go check out what he does Monday through Friday for all your college basketball and NBA betting. Daily Juice for me. We're back Tuesday on the YouTube channel for BettingPros. We'll go through the Sweet 16 games, and then we're back here next Saturday, same place, same time, Twitch live stream, as we'll have the Elite 8, and we'll start breaking down those games for Saturday and Sunday for the Final Four. He's Terrell Furman. I'm Matt Perrault. It's for Callie in the back. Thanks for watching our first ever Twitch stream. We're back on Tuesday for more college basketball betting with BettingPros.